Welcome to this quick recap of day one and base game of the Grand Chess Tour Paris was Nepomiatchtchi white against French player Etienne Bacrot black. So bishop e5 check, that's the sad line of the Sicilian, and the main plan for white is to simply build a center by c3 and d4. So let's go quickly for the opening. So here, white has a bit more space, but black has exchanged the light square bishop, which is a big deal when you have all your pawns on the light square. So here, a normal move I would expect would be bishop e7. But instead, Bacrot play a5 and a4. So he's trying to expand and grab space here because white grabs space in the center. And now he plays bishop e7. And here, that's where Nepomiatchtchi start to put pressure on the French Grandmaster. h4 played. So here, if I were to be black, I will be mindful of knight g5 or bishop g5, and I will play h6 and wait before deciding for the castle. Instead, Bacrot went to short castle. Rook c3. Obviously, the rook may come here to join the attack. Rook d3, definitely avoiding any exchange on the c file. b5, clearly black is continuing his plan to put some pressure on the queen side, and now Nepo try to put some pressure on the king side. So there are not a lot of pieces on the board, but that's where it becomes very important to be careful with black. And Bacrot decided to kick the knight off the board. He could have tried to defend by moving the queen, and if white comes in and attacking here, you can do rook a7 and you defend, but you don't touch your pawns unless you have to. Instead, he decided to kick the knight. So the knight comes back, you move the king away, queen g4, clearly the queen has to join the attack. And here we have a key moment. White doesn't have a winning attack yet, so bishop f8 would be great because you're protecting g7. On rook g3, for instance, you try to bring back your piece here, and you're trying to defend. Instead, I think Bacrot panicked and play f5 to attack the queen. So you notice that when the knight was here, he played h6 to attack the knight, and now he's attacking the queen with f5. But when you move a pawn from here to here, you weaken a square, the g6 square, and that's where Nepo is going. And here it's already difficult. The best move is probably bishop f8, but the queen is advanced. So you have knight f4, and if you try to defend here, you can play rook c1 and continue the attack. You have offensive here, you can go to g4, the rook can come. That's already better for white. But Bacrot took on h4, and that is already an admission is not in the game because you're opening the lines against your king. Queen here attacking the bishop, bishop wastes time, and now a sack. Why is that? You have a rook, you have a knight and a queen, so you're ready to attack the king. You have enough pieces to attack. Bacrot took the bishop, and here, final move of the game, rook g3, and Bacrot resigned. So now, if Bacrot ignored the threat, let's say play b4, what would you do here? Check. And here simply, you have a check here on the back rank. So here, if you try to move the bishop, you take over here, that's not good. And if you try to move the bishop over here to clear the back rank, check, check. And you can see that the rook here is a big problem for black. So after rook g3, black resign, and you have no defense whatsoever. So it's a quiet move, cutting off the king and preparing here, right? And I didn't mention, if you try to defend h6, then queen e8, and you attack this way. So I think that was 24 moves and a brilliant way to attack. After castle, rook c3, and h4, it was a model attack by the challenger Ian Nepomiatchtchi. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe.